Oh, I just stabbed you in the cheek. Hello. A week's passed for you, about 3 minutes have passed for us. And today we have our second filler episode while we're out doing a big hike. So we thought we'd tell you a very funny story from our past. That story is how we got stalked across the Isle of Wight by a potential lover. No, not potential lover. Now, in order to legally protect this potential stalker's identity, we will just call him Gammy Leg, because he had a very interesting hobble. So here it goes. Settle back and enjoy the tale of Gammy Leg the Stalker. We were on this hike across the Isle of Wight, and we were camping in different places, and we'd arrived at this place called Ryde, where there's a big pier, as you can see in the...
Called Ryde Pier.
Yeah. As chance would have it, it was called Ryde Pier. And we were scoping out this pier by walking along it because we wanted to jump off it. And along the way we bumped into this interesting man who we will call Gammy Leg, who was a nice sort of grandfather figure who started talking to us. We made friends with him, and we started telling him things about us because he made us feel really comfortable.
Well, Will started telling him things. I stood to one side and was very antisocial, as is my way. But Will told him where we were camping that night.
Oh yeah, I told him where we were camping that night. I was telling him where we were going next week. He was a really nice guy. And in turn, he told us a bit about himself. He told us that he used to be a teacher in Manchester. He taught PE until he had to leave, and that's as far as he left it. We didn't pry. And then he told us that now, instead of teaching, he lives on the Isle of Wight in his car, which is full of old suits.
Never found out anything more about that.
No, but that is an important detail, so remember it, YouTube dearest. Anyway, we left the pier and we're out sort of jumping around on the seafront.
Okay, yeah, so we were jumping around, and so we were just like eyeing up a jump. I think Will was setting up to do some kind of flip. This was long before the times where I'd ever even done a flip. The exciting touch of my parkour life, which involved jumping as far as I could.
Not sticking anything.
Not sticking anything. And again, out of nowhere, this old man walks up to us.
And we'd completely forgotten about him at this point.
Yeah, it was a few hours later.
It was strange. It was like he was almost making excuses for seeing us again. He kept bumping into us and then sort of going, "Oh, there are only 2 people on this seafront," and like, "Oh, fancy seeing you again." Oh.
And then he got out of his bag this little pot of sun cream, and he was just like, he started rubbing a bit on his shoulders. And he said, "Oh, boys, I'm just really struggling. I just can't seem to get it right on my bald spot. Can one of you rub sun cream into my bald spot, please?"
And we just sort of went, "No." And we moved off. And then the next day we woke up in our camping spot, and it's a normal time, so 9 o'clock in the morning. We were out sort of sorting our tent out, and we'd had a few drinks that night, so we were a bit sort of hungover and bleary-eyed. And then, lo and behold, Mr. Gammy Leg walks around the corner in this random field that we're camping in.
This is quite a long way from where we were the day before.
Yeah, this is at least a mile away from where we were before. And this is quite a popular area. This isn't the sort of place where you normally bump into the same person now 3 times. And he said to us, "Oh, like, you're awake now. I checked in on you at 3 a.m. and you were still asleep. Nice tent you've got." And by this point, alarm bells are ringing, because he didn't just look at our tent, he opened our tent to look at us. Like, that is not normal.
No.
And so he said, "Okay, like, what's going on?" And then he said, "Now, there aren't any showers around here, but what I do is I walk down to the nearby cafe and they let me tip the water bowl for dogs onto my head, and I have a doggy bowl shower." So you could try
that is actual words.
The doggy bowl shower. And he said, "Oh, you can come with me and we can do it together if you like." We declined his offer. I want to make that very clear. So yes, and then he moves off and says, "Oh, don't worry, guys, you won't see me again. I'm off now. Like, enjoy the rest of your trip." And we sort of say, "Bye, nonce." And off he goes, and we forget about him. We think he was very weird, but that's about it.
So we're in Ventnor, which is like completely the other side of the Isle of Wight. This is the next day. We'd had a very interesting night, but that's a story for another time.
That sounds very odd.
So then we were on the beach and we decided to cook pot noodles for lunch, as you do, or breakfast even. And we didn't have any matches, so Will went off to buy some matches somewhere in Ventnor, and I'll let him tell the story from here.
Yeah, so while Jonty was down on the beach trying to cook pot noodles, I decided to volunteer and go up this sea road, which ran parallel to the beach, but it was higher up and led to the shop. And as I was walking up the road, I passed this car, and it was full of old suits. And I thought, funny, I'm sure I remember something about old suits in a car. At this moment, I looked down at the seafront where Jonty is, and about 100 metres away from him, our friend Mr. Gamig is hobbling towards him with his eyes set on where we've been camping. So I forget about the lighter, run down to Jonty, and tell him we just about get away before he bumps into us again. It was absolutely terrifying, which means that he'd followed us all the way from Ryde, which is on one end of the Isle of Wight, all the way about 30 miles across to the opposite side where we'd been camping, and it was because we told him before. It just goes to show, moral of the story is, don't tell nonces where you're sleeping, travelling, jumping, and don't assist them in rubbing lotion into their bald spot.
Bald spots anywhere on the body.
So there we have it. I hope you've enjoyed these two slightly different UBPK episodes. They will be back to normal next week when we start releasing all the videos from our big travels across the UK. More to come soon on that. Yeah, like, comment and subscribe, or don't. Bye. Andrash, that one's for you.